As a physician specialized in aging and men's health for over 20 years, I've seen firsthand how the foods we eat, especially past the age of 60, can either extend or shorten our life in ways most people never expect. You might believe you're eating all the right things: more greens, fewer sweets, no fried foods. But what if I told you that some of the very vegetables sitting on your plate may be undermining your heart, not helping it? It surprises many to learn that vegetables, yes, even the ones labeled heart healthy, can carry serious risks for seniors, depending on how they're eaten and what medications you're on. I've treated countless patients who came into my clinic confused, frustrated, and fatigued, despite having followed a seemingly clean diet. And more often than not, they were unknowingly making small dietary choices that interfered with their heart health. Let me walk you through what I've learned in my years of practice and explain why some vegetables, though nutritious, can work against your heart if consumed the wrong way. The goal isn't to scare you, it's to inform and protect you, because once you understand the risks, the solutions become surprisingly simple. Let's begin with a common leafy green that many older adults overconsume without realizing its hidden dangers. Spinach has long been hailed as a superfood, and in many ways it is, rich in vitamins, minerals, and fiber. But when you're over 60, particularly if you're taking blood thinners like warfarin or aspirin, spinach becomes more complicated. This green is loaded with vitamin K, which plays a central role in blood clotting. Too much of it can interfere with your medication, reducing its effectiveness and increasing your risk of clotting complications like stroke or heart attack. I've had patients who felt perfectly fine, but were unknowingly sabotaging their treatment by drinking spinach smoothies or eating large salads every day. Their blood appeared stable in tests, yet internally, the clotting balance was tipping in the wrong direction. Spinach isn't the problem, irregularity is. You can still enjoy it, but you need to eat it consistently and inform your doctor about your diet. That way, medication dosages can be properly adjusted, and your heart remains protected. If spinach can undermine medication silently, consider the danger of something that doesn't look dangerous at all: pickled cucumbers. Many people reach for pickles as a crunchy, low-calorie snack. But what they often don't realize is just how much sodium is packed into those tangy slices. A single serving can contain over 1,000 milligrams of salt, nearly 2/3 of the recommended daily intake for seniors. That's just from a handful of pickles. Salt pulls water into your bloodstream, increasing blood volume and straining your heart and vessels. This can lead to high blood pressure, arterial stiffness, and eventually heart failure. I've treated patients who couldn't understand why their blood pressure stayed high, even after cutting fried food, reducing alcohol, and exercising. The culprit? That small pile of pickles on the side of their plate? There are no early warning signs when salt begins damaging the heart. You don't feel it until it's too late. A stroke, chest pain, or sudden fatigue may be the first signal that something is wrong. Your kidneys at this age don't filter sodium as efficiently, and your arteries are less elastic. That makes salty snacks like pickles, canned vegetables, and even some soups a bigger threat than you might expect. Cooking meals yourself, checking labels, and using herbs instead of salt can spare your heart years of unnecessary stress. Let's turn now to a vegetable that evokes warmth, culture, and memories, yet may be secretly overstimulating your cardiovascular system: red chili peppers. There's no doubt that for many, spice means flavor, tradition, and enjoyment. But in an aging body, that fiery kick might trigger more than just taste. Red chili peppers activate your sympathetic nervous system, the one responsible for fight-or-flight responses. This means your heart beats faster, your vessels constrict, and adrenaline surges. In a younger body, this reaction fades quickly. But in a heart that has endured over 6 decades of work, that sudden spike can trigger arrhythmias, high blood pressure, or even cardiac events. I've had older patients come in after a spicy meal experiencing tightness in their chest, fluttering heartbeats, or dizziness, unaware that the peppers in their favorite dish may be to blame. Over time, repeated exposure to this internal stressor builds chronic inflammation in your cardiovascular system. That's something the heart simply cannot afford after 60. You don't need to give up flavor. Mild alternatives like garlic, used in moderation, Ginger, rosemary, or citrus can elevate a dish beautifully without setting off your body's alarm system. Spicy food isn't evil, but if your heart starts racing every time you eat it, it's sending you a signal you shouldn't ignore. And speaking of garlic, let's discuss another beloved ingredient that, ironically, turns dangerous when eaten raw, especially in large amounts. Garlic is often praised as a natural remedy for high cholesterol, blood thinning, and heart support. And there's truth to that. But many seniors misunderstand the dosage and preparation required for safety. When consumed raw in high quantities, garlic can amplify the effects of blood-thinning medications dangerously. I've seen patients with uncontrolled nosebleeds, black stools, or unexplained dizziness, all because they were adding whole cloves of raw garlic to their meals or swallowing them like pills. Garlic also lowers blood pressure naturally, but if you're already taking medication for that, the combination can cause hypotension, low blood pressure, which leads to weakness, confusion, and even fainting. Cooking garlic reduces its blood-thinning effects while still providing flavor and some benefits. So if you love garlic, continue using it, but always in moderation and preferably cooked. Speak to your physician if you want to make it a regular part of your regimen. Next comes a health food that looks completely harmless, perhaps even angelic in its clean, green appearance. I'm talking about raw sprouts like alfalfa or mung bean sprouts. These are often added to salads or sandwiches by those trying to eat fresh and natural. But few know that sprouts grow in the same warm, moist environments that bacteria like E. coli and Salmonella thrive in. And as we age, our immune systems weaken. What might be a temporary stomach upset in a younger adult can lead to serious infection in someone over 60. I've treated patients hospitalized with sepsis, dangerous arrhythmias, or even endocarditis, an infection of the heart lining, due to bacteria ingested through raw sprouts. It's a heartbreaking irony. You're trying to eat clean, but the very food meant to nourish you ends up causing harm. If you enjoy sprouts, cook them lightly before adding to meals. A quick steam or sauté kills most harmful pathogens while preserving flavor. And as always, wash your produce thoroughly, even those labeled pre-washed or organic. Now that we've talked about which vegetables might pose a threat, it's natural to ask, what should you eat to truly support your heart after 60? The answer isn't in trends, extremes, or exotic miracle foods. It's in real whole vegetables prepared in ways that work with your body's current needs, not how it used to be 20 years ago. These are foods that reduce inflammation, regulate blood pressure, support stable blood sugar, and most importantly, work in harmony with the medications many older adults rely on. Start with vegetables that are easy on the digestive system and rich in heart-supporting compounds. Steamed broccoli, gently sautéed kale, and roasted carrots are excellent choices. Sweet potatoes offer a natural source of potassium and fiber, both of which are essential for managing blood pressure. Cooked tomatoes are especially powerful. They contain lycopene, a plant compound that protects the heart and arteries from oxidative stress. Legumes like lentils, black beans, and green beans provide not only protein, but a wide range of phytonutrients that help maintain vascular health without spiking blood sugar. These foods are nutrient-dense without overwhelming your body. They provide strength without stress. Unlike raw sprouts or sodium-packed pickles, these foods are generally well tolerated by older bodies and actually work to improve your body's response to medication. I've seen patients who were dependent on multiple prescriptions manage to reduce their dosages over time simply by sticking to a stable, nourishing diet. The key isn't perfection, it's consistency. One of the most powerful shifts you can make is also the simplest. Build your meals with warmth and balance. That means lightly cooked vegetables instead of raw, gentle seasonings instead of aggressive ones, and small, consistent portions rather than dramatic changes. Think of your heart like an old engine. It doesn't need fuel dumped all at once, but rather a steady stream of clean energy. For flavor, there's no need to sacrifice enjoyment. A sprinkle of turmeric, a dash of rosemary, a squeeze of fresh lemon, these can make your meals both delicious and heart protective. Garlic, when cooked, can be used safely and in moderation. Ginger supports digestion and circulation. These herbs and spices don't tax your heart, they nourish it. But even the healthiest vegetables can't protect your heart if you continue with one small but dangerous habit: ignoring the signals your body is sending. Aging isn't about loss, it's about learning. Your body is constantly giving you information. Shortness of breath, unexpected fatigue, a change in sleep patterns. These are not just signs of aging, they're alerts that something needs attention. Your heart has been working for you since the day you were born. Over 2 billion beats by the time you turn 60. It has never asked for anything until now. Now it needs you to listen, to adjust, and to care for it with the respect it deserves. I've treated patients who came to me exhausted, frustrated, even hopeless. But by making small, informed changes, replacing raw spinach with gently steamed greens, swapping salt with herbs, cooking garlic instead of eating it raw, they began to feel stronger, sleep better, and regain a sense of energy they thought was lost forever. It's not too late. The damage is not final. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. You just need to start today. Revisit your habits, rebuild your plate, renew your energy. Every step you take toward your health, no matter how small, gives your heart one more reason to keep beating with strength and purpose. I want you to know that your next heartbeat is not guaranteed, but it is a gift you can protect, a gift you can shape, and a gift you can pass on through the example you set for those who love you. Let's live wisely, let's eat purposefully, let's age with power, not just in years, but in the choices we make. Now I'd love to hear from you. What's one thing you learned today that you plan to change in your own routine? Feel free to share it. And if this message helped you, I encourage you to pass it along to someone you care about. Your heart still has time. Let's use it well.